Cadillac on 22s. Ain't did nothing in my life but stay true. What's up, world? What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day. Good weekend so far. Of course, it's me back with another video. We're gonna get straight into it. I know some of you guys might be checking out the title, and I know it's a controversial title, but a lot of it's been going on around right now. And don't forget to support the channel. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Who supports black businesses? I know it's a controversial shirt, but it sparked the conversation. Who supports black businesses out there? Is it just the black people, or do we get some more checks on this shirt and we have to redesign this shirt? Maybe have to do another one. All right, but anyways, the title is Pan-Africanism. Is it just a dream? Like Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. And I don't want this video to be too long, but I gotta break it down. So, of course, there are a lot of people in black community, whether it be just here in the United States, whether it be in what we call the motherland, and all other parts of the world, who consider, who would like black people to unite, as a whole, work together. That's basically the definition of Pan-Africanism. The definition is Pan-Africanism, for those that don't know, is the idea that peoples of African descent have common interests and should be unified. Okay. All right. So historically, Pan-Africanism has often taken the shape of a political or cultural movement. All right. So there are some variations to it, but the gist is that black people around the world should have common interests and they should unite. And to me, it sounds really good. It sounds like a good plan, and it seems like if in a almost like in a dream world, that this concept would actually work. I mean, of course, people would be more powerful if we could unite together. There's also something called Europeanism, Pan-Europeanism, or Pan-European. So it's basically a group where European nations, I believe about 27, could be more countries, pretty much work together and try to be what they call on code, right? And so I don't. Y'all, many of us have heard of in South America, Pan American. I think it's an airline, but what it refers to is that people in South America and all the different countries like Bogota, Colombia, Ecuador, and these people pretty much work together in South America, right? So everybody tries to have their own cultural conglomerate. And like I said, so currently there have been a lot of people talking about, FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, FBA versus the ADOS, the American Descendants of Slaves, versus Pan-Africanism, Pan-Africanism versus both of them, Pan-Africanism versus ADOS, Pan-Africanism versus FBA. All right. So, yeah, it's my partner. Excuse me, y'all. Yeah, so there have been many people talking about these different subjects. I mean, these different groups working in opposition towards each other. Well, from my perspective, and it's just my perspective, I just had to ask myself, how do you think, and ask myself, how do I kind of think that this is a real possible solution when many black people in, just as take the motherland in Africa, don't get along themselves? I mean, we all know about the notorious movie Hotel Rwanda, right? In Hotel Rwanda, he had the Hutu fighting the Tutsi. It's a lot of tribalism that goes on, right? And even like, let's say, like throughout the Bible, right? I don't want to get too into the religion, but like in the Bible, you have all these tribes, and many of these tribes take place in the motherland of Africa, or in what they call Arabia right now, whatever, right? Iraq and Iran and all these places. And there was a lot of tribalism. I mean, just take for instance, the Sunni and the Shia, these different type of Arabs, right? A lot of these people do not get along with each other. And as much as you would want them to get along with each other, is because they have cultural differences. It most likely won't happen, right? Let's just take, even for instance, let's just take like Hispanic groups. Like I'm in Texas, right? So in over here in Texas, you got a lot of Hispanic groups that don't get along with each other. Like a lot of Mexican groups don't get in, don't jive well with a lot of people from let's say like Cuba, or they may not, have good relationships with people from Colombia or El Salvador, right? A lot of these groups have issues with each other, but they all are what we would consider Hispanic or Spanish. All right. So, or Latin, right? But a lot of these groups don't get along with each other. So, how can I expect our black people to get along across the world when there are, other groups that have the same problem, right? Even for instance, let's take Europeans. Not all Europeans get along. Like, look what's happening in Ukraine. You have Russians killing Ukrainians and Ukrainians killing Russians. And these are next door neighbors. These people basically have a lot of relatives most likely exist in between both of these countries, right? But they are killing each other, And when the Germans invaded like Poland and all of these other countries, these were people who had probably similar genetics, similar bloodlines, but these people were on a rampage killing each other. Even when they talk about Native American groups, when they were being, prior to being colonized, a lot of these groups will fight each other. And we talk about slavery, and people don't like to admit it, but a lot of the African slaves that were brought to America were already enslaved by their own African brother and sold to the Europeans. And many of them were brought here, or brought to South America, and some were brought to North America, right? So it's hard to sit here and say that Pan Africanism is not just is actually a feasible possibility when there's so much infighting, right? So just even looking here, let's say like in North America, right? Let's just take Black Americans. A lot of Black Americans don't get along, right? For whatever reason. You got a lot of people in California. Remember when Tupac was alive, they had the East Coast versus the West Coast. California's black people didn't like, or just Californians, who could have been some white people, but Californians didn't like the New Yorkers, and the New Yorkers didn't like the Californians, right? Here just in certain cities, the west side of town don't like the east side of town, the north side of town don't like the south side of town. The Crips didn't like the Bloods, and you had the Vice Lords and these other different groups didn't like other different groups. I don't really know about them that much, but I'm just saying, for instance, a lot of these groups didn't like each other. So it just makes you wonder, how can we unify as a group when there's so much sectarianism? You got the Catholics versus the Protestants versus the Baptists, right? And like we said, we got the Black Christians versus the Muslim Christians, right? It's just so much division in certain areas to where it's hard for people to say, you know what, you may be Christian, you may be Muslim, but we all want to defeat white supremacy. We all want to have a global black system where we all can kind of work together on. And it's hard to really kind of see that being a true possibility. I mean, like I just stated, it's so many other groups that don't share this mindset, you know. So what makes me think that Pan Africanism can really, really work? And it's a lot of people right now. I would listen to one channel I listen to when brothers on there talking about Pan Africanism, and they talking about the Moors, and man, these boys are sitting, these people on here arguing with each other on the channel. So I'm like, if you guys can't even come to an agreement with the ideology that you say that you support or you root for, what makes me think that on a grand scale we could actually bring all these different groups and all these ethnicities and cultures and all these different diversities together? Man, it's hard to get two people just to play on the same sports team together. Not saying it can't be done, but it's hard. It's really hard to try to unify all these different people with all these different variations. So my goal is to just unify like minds. You unify like minds, and then maybe you can work in conjunction with other groups. They may have some. You may have some similar goals with. So you might have some black people on the north side of town that may not necessarily get along with the people on the south side of town, but both of them realize that it's too much violence going on in the city. So maybe they come together to create a rally or some type of venue for the youth, basketball, football tournament, or put together some different type of educational programs, after school programs for the youth to attend, right? So you're not necessarily these people are going to come together all the way, but they can kind of find a way to unify and create a come together to achieve a certain goal, right? So anyway, so like I said, man, like I said, when it comes down to, because right now, I know a lot of you guys are being bombarded or see a lot of the Pan Africanism coming up, a lot of the FBA talk, a lot of the ADOS talk, and some of you may or may not be interested in where I stand at on it. But for me, is you gotta take the jewels where you find the jewels. Somebody has good ideas in each different organization, and what's the take the best idea from the organization, not just sit there and say that you just married to an organization, just like we talk about being married to the Democratic Party, or being married to the Republican Party. You married to the best concepts, the things that will benefit your community the most, right? So now I'll keep you guys all day on that topic, but I just wanted to put that out there since so much Pan Africanism talk is going on, so much ADOS and FBA talk is going on, and a lot of these people I tell you on the internet, they can't be trusted. So you gotta get out here and think for yourself, right? Yeah, well, like I said, I just looking through my notes and I was talking about like how all Asians don't unite. You got Chinese, you got Japanese, you got Koreans, North Koreans, South Koreans, you got the Vietnamese, right? All these people do not get along. Even with the church, you got the Seventh-day Adventists, the Protestants, the Baptists, the Catholics, the Christians, Muslims, you got the Sunni, the Shia, you know, you had the red Arabs, the dark-skinned Arabs, you got the Hutu, the Tutsi, and you got all these different groups, the Kenyans and the Ghanaians, and then you got the Nigerians, and all these groups don't necessarily get along, right? So, you know, Pan Africanism sounds good. It seems like it would be a great, uh, um, a great philosophy and a great theory. But can it really be tangibly realized? Can it really be realized? That is yet to be seen. But in the meantime, we do need to work together to educate our people in the Black community. Don't get just stuck on colors. From my perspective, don't just get stuck on the colors of people. You try to focus on who's going to be able to be beneficial and help you. We do want to work with your people as much as possible and try to change the mindset of the people. But if a person is still brainwashed just because y'all the same color doesn't mean they're gonna be good for you. So, anyways, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. I'm out. Peace.